Hey everybody, welcome to Open the Gates. My name is Matt Burke. I'm your host today, and today we're going to have on Odin Dasko. He's going to be talking about his horror anthology, Unconditional Shove. If you folks would love to give Odin a hello and what's up, that would be awesome. Odin, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great. It's fucking pouring rain out here, man. I had to go pick up my kid, and it's just dumping left and right, and went to try to go pick up some food so I could wolf down before the show. And my little like mom and pop burger joint is closed on Tuesdays, but their drive-through was flooded. So, just saying,
oh damn. Well, we got pounded with snow the other day, so
yeah. Damn. I can't complain.
Yeah. Don't feel too bad.
Right?
I'm like, damn, I wasn't ready. I'm never ready. That happens every year around this time. So, just in a colder climate, sounds like.
Where you at? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh yeah, I don't mind. I'm in Spokane, Washington. So.
Oh, okay. I'm over here in like LA County, Bellflower, California.
Oh, okay.
Pretty nice over here.
Just south where it's a lot nicer. Yeah. We got a milder summers up here, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, man. It's not bad. It's it's not bad.
Still 80s.
What is up, brother?
I always, for some reason, when I see the your backdrop, I always imagine you'd be in like fucking Alaska or something, bro. Like it made like I'm thinking like 30 Days a Night, The Thing. You know what I mean? Because you got that cool map back there, and I'm just like,
that would be
does, man.
Yeah.
He's probably...
Well, my brother lives in Alaska, and
okay.
But for the sake of my kids and stuff, I probably would live in Alaska actually, because
that's beautiful.
Miss my brother, and it's like. Yeah, it's cold during the winter and stuff, but if you're ever there in the summer, that is the most amazing place in the world. So, yeah.
I'd love to go there, especially that Kodiak Islands. Oh, man.
You want to go fight some giant bears?
Yeah, big salmon, smoking those big salmon.
Yeah.
With the brown sugar, man.
I've definitely done some salmon fishing up there. Oh, man, it's easy to catch at the right time of year. I mean, it's basically you throw it out there, you got one. You catch your limit in like an hour, and you're like, okay, I guess that was fun.
All right, see it. Just take what you need and bounce.
Yeah. Well, I mean, up there, like people, it's their livelihood, you know. So there's the fishing up there is notoriously amazing. So
all that salmon, man. I do homeschool with my daughter, and we were learning about some of the tribes up there. I don't remember, but it seemed like they had it nice up there, man. Their cabins.
Yeah.
Not just so much Alaska, but just the top part, like those tribes up there, because there's thousands of tribes, you know. But
sure.
Oh man.
Well, and where I'm at, the Spokane tribe, way back in the day, the salmon run would come down, and that was also their livelihood during certain times of the year when the spawning and stuff. So, yeah, all along the Pacific Northwest, all the way up to Alaska. I mean, it's just a lot of salmon fishing.
Super bomb omega-3s. For the ticker.
Yeah.
Always good, man.
It is good.
That's a little bit about yourself. You mind telling me a little bit more about yourself, everybody else?
Yeah, well, I'm Odin. I live in Spokane. No, I'm a father, as we talked about. Was a metal musician or vocalist. I didn't really actually play, but I was a vocalist forever. And then lifelong comic book fan. But I took a break from comic books, and then when I came back, they were all fucked up. But that's what I heard about, like Comicsgate, and like a movement of people who were kind of disenchanted and dissatisfied with the way the mainstream industry was handling things. So we were like, man, this is a great time to jump back into that initial love of making comic books. So honed up my drawing skills as best I could, because I've been drawing the whole time, but like get back to sequential storytelling and all that, and release a book, and here we are.
Hell yeah, man.
Doing it. Yeah.
All right. So we got comics mate Dean in there. Hell Dean, how you doing, brother?
See you, Dean.
That's cool, man. I kind of got back into comics with the New 52. I didn't want to jump in, but I was also I've been in a couple metal bands myself.
Nice.
I fart around a guitar, but I don't play. I just do vocals only.
So you're a fellow vocalist. Nice.
Yeah, and then I'll hum some melodies like, and then to go over to my best friend Dave, and he'll maybe come up with some cool guitar riffs. He's a freaking master. But that's what I did too, man. It looks like we had a similar kind of similar upbringing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What style were you guys playing?
We were doing like melodic death metal. That was kind of kind of got into. He's real big into metal death or Megadeth. A lot of the Swedish stuff, In Flames, Soilwork, Darkane, Monomarth.
Sentenced back in the day. Sentenced was probably one of my favorite of that Swedish. I don't know that area.
Basically, Typo Negative, kind of from Sweden, huh?
Yeah,
pretty badass. I've seen them, bro. I seen them 20 years ago with In Flames and Killswitch Engage and Dark Tranquility. That's another band I like. I seen them in Pomona at the Glass House.
Oh, nice.
They were fucking crazy, dude. That was such a fun show.
That's one of my regrets. I never got to see Typo live. Missed 2 concerts one time because I had to work, and they wouldn't let me get out of it, even though I already had tickets.
Oh man!
And I felt like I might lose my job if I didn't, bow down. So I was like, shit, I missed the show. And then the other time was when recently in Spokane, it was almost, shortly before Peter Steele passed away, but it was like people who went to that one were like, yeah, it wasn't the same.
Yeah, right.
He's got a old manish. Yeah.
Well,
no big deal.
Yeah, it sucks. But that's cool, man. As far as I was looking at your work, man, I'm really digging it. I love the style that you're putting down there with your Unconditional Shove, man. It kind of reminds me of the old like EC Comics and Tales from the Crypt.
Yep.
A lot of Corbin. I don't know if you're into Corbin, but Corbin.
Yeah.
A lot of his that guy,
heavy metal
stuff he did.
Yeah.
And he was doing all this crazy like underground stuff back in the day, like cutting edge stuff that a lot of people don't really talk about too much. But I love his steepling, man.
Very specific style. And then somewhere along the line, he got really, really into drawing and painting penises. And I was like, or really phallic kind of monsters.
Yeah, really phallic, like rat god.
It looked like a giant dick coming at you with a monster mouth. And you're like, okay, that's interesting. But it was still like amazingly well done. So you're like, Corbin's a man.
Hated the new 52. Yeah, I liked them. I liked old books too, though. I like the Capullo. I love Capullo's art. I love Spawn. I was a 90s kid too. I like the Swamp Thing was fucking sick. The way I don't know how to pronounce his name, Yannick Paquet, but that shit was metal as fuck. All the rot. I don't know if you've seen that.
I don't know which artist I remember when Wrightson when he did it. I think Kelly Jones did it for a while.
Love Kelly Jones.
And then I liked the set. His work on Swamp Thing was pretty badass. So because he was doing it when Alan Moore was writing on it. So yeah, I didn't recognize the name he just threw out. So I'm like, maybe I have to check that out.
It was the only book and Scott Snyder was writing it. Hate him, fucking whatever. But I liked the book, and I like what they're doing. The art, the panels, the borders that he was doing. It was all organic, like shrubberies and psychedelic too. At the same time, like whoa. And he never did that again after that.
Weird.
The dude. And then I liked the Frankenstein book, with the Agents of Shade. I thought that was kind of fun. And Demon Knights, that was cool because they were doing different shit. They had 52 different fucking titles. And they weren't really doing that before. And now they always got Atlas. They got Batman with all this Bat books on his shoulders, holding up DC. You know what I'm talking about?
He's the only thing holding it together. Like that new Silvestri thing looks badass.
Oh, I want it so bad.
And you're like, well, how well would it have done if it wasn't Batman? They're like, okay, this is like a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
We're gonna put somebody badass on our only thing that's selling. See how it goes. I see you're getting a drink ready, and I'm going to do the same.
I was thinking today, I was like, I've been drinking some Mickey's, I was drinking every now and then, last few weeks. And because, I'll do the live horror movie club with Brian Christgau, a couple of cats. It's a casual stream. We watch a free movie, and then we talk shit about it, like it, hate it, fuck, whatever,
Right. Yeah, we do something like that on 80s, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I watch your shows. They're fun and entertaining. I like your show. Like I'm watching 80s Made and Vic King. That guy does some fun shit too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I worked at a beverage warehouse back in the day, like 20 some years ago, back when I was in the bands and shit. And there was this guy that worked there, this older cat, and his name was John. I don't remember his last name. It might have been Shimento or something, but he was from the East Coast. He was an old man. He looked like Mr. Magoo. And he said he used to work at Rolling Rock. And he said that
there you go.
when he went there, when he first started working there, they would stop and they would take a lunch break, and they would just straight up open like a barrel and start drinking. And he would go up, and there was a big head on there, and he would just go up and go, And he said that this older man, because this guy I'm talking to, he's like 89. He'd come up and go, smack, and hit him in the back of the head. I said, what are you doing, boy? That's the best part. And so ever since then,
ever since then, you
like,
give yourself a giant head.
Give me some big head. So
well, I'm gonna make a Boilermaker, which I put a little
ooh, that sounds even
little half shot of bourbon. I'm just doing a half because it's early, and then the beer I got is it's a Washington brewery here.
Oh, nice
pub beer.
Yeah,
that
looks pretty bomb.
10-barrel brewing. Yeah, it's a nice lager, but it's like a craft lager, so it's pretty decent.
Super bomb.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna give myself a giant head.
Right.
I'll give a little bit, but not gigantic.
Not a little.
Just
the and this was like one of the first pale ales, like popular ones I seen back in the day,
Yeah, there was a time when Rolling Rock was not what it is now. It's kind of become like a whole different thing. But I bet when that old dude worked there, it was like a really good,
like organic and shit.
Pale, yeah.
We were talking about Kelly Jones and Wrightson, and I was wondering, man, who were some of your other like influences as far as writing goes and illustrating as well, man? I'd love to know if that's okay.
Yeah, of course it's okay. That's what we're here for. We'll talk about that. What's up, Ray? Good to see you. Man, Wrightson. It's hard to find, at least at this point in my life, like a bigger influence as far as just something to ascribe to. I'm like, I hate to say like influence because then people are like, your work doesn't even look like that guy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not a copycat. It's just, but that's one of those guys where I'm like, it's so fucking good that I could just sit and stare at it, enjoy it for hours on end. Almost every drawing he's ever done.
Yeah.
Wrightson is the man. I was also a huge Bisley fan.
Hell yeah.
So what he did in the 90s, like it blew my mind because I was like early 90s, I was all into like Jim Lee and Silvestri and these guys. They were like kind of a crisp, clean Marvel look, and I was like, that's how comics are supposed to look.
Right.
Your rendering is nice, sharp lines. Nothing goes outside the lines. And I was trying to emulate that so much when I was young. And then I got Lobo and Simon Bisley's inks. And I was like, oh man, you can scribble outside the lines.
You can do some scribbles.
Yeah, as long as it looks cool. Why would anyone care? And so that was like
some Zorros, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, he was literally scribbling half the time.
I've been like examining that shit too, man. I'm really like, I've always loved Bisley, but personally, like right now, I'm really like into his work. And same thing with Wrightson, man. I got the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I got the French one because the good one is about $300, but they had a French one that's like huge. I got it for $40. I was telling Phil about that Diaz, and he's like, "What?" And it was a good deal. It was hardback. It's in French, but I got the fucking Mary Shelley's. I got the graphic. I got the novel itself. So if I want to read it,
right, the story.
I want to examine his lines and sit there and go, "Oh, was that whiteout?" Or "Oh, was he sitting with a ruler, like following it like that with the Raphael?"
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was ridiculously amazing, and that what's up, man? To Luke, that work he was doing on Frankenstein was like mind blowing, ink wise, and just his rendering and his textures, and I mean, it was so detailed that it was just mind blowing.
I heard it took him like 7 years to make it. Like he was working on it like as a side piece when he was doing all the other stuff. That's from what I remember. That's cool, man.
Talk up this one. I don't know if you can see it. It's a big fat book called Monsters.
Ooh,
as I knock a bunch of shit off. But
I can't wait to see it.
So he was another one. This is Barry Windsor Smith.
Oh yeah.
And they were both in the studio, which was them, Jeff Jones, and then another guy that I can never remember his name.
You got the studio too?
What's that? Oh no, the studio was where they hung out and came up with ideas and stuff. It was like a collection. Like, so it was Barry Windsor Smith, Bernie Wrightson, and Jeff Jones, and then one other dude. But they got this studio where they would just like brainstorm and sit around and draw. And so they were called the studio.
Have you seen the graphic novel?
This took forever for us. No. What's that?
They have it. It's called The Studio, and I think it's about them, and it has their art in it. Yeah, and there's this lady that worked with them too, and I forgot she was on some stream the other day. I think on Mike Barron's show. But yeah, man, I love that. I love Wrightson stuff, and I always go back to him. And it's weird how like, you know, Frazetta was his big influence, and Frazetta was like kind of like the godfather of swords and sandals and sorcery, you know.
Yeah.
Fantasy art, and then Wrightson just took it. Now I'm the horror guy now, you know.
Yeah. No, and he killed it with horror. But you know, we were talking about the EC comics and everything. Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. You see it, and it's just mind blowing. And he also got Mike Kaluta. Yeah, that was the other guy in the studio. But talk about the old EC artists, you know, like you think of like Wallywood, and then one of my favorites is Gramingels. They were heavy black in their style, you know, so I think of them as the originators of this horror, at least comic book wise, horror style. And yeah, there were several others. And then Wrightson was kind of second wave after that, but he took it and made it just even that much more amazing. Yeah.
Just took it over.
Yeah. Yeah. Wrightson was a master of the macabre, I think they called it. Well, I used to get these trading cards of Wrightson. It was just like trading cards with different images. And I think that's how they were selling it. Master of the macabre. Bernie Wrightson, master of the macabre.
Damn, I'm jelly. Did you pick up his last work, Alive, Frankenstein?
No.
So he did that with IDW, and he was working on it, and he did the first like two issues, I think, and then he just stopped. And I was like, oh, something's going wrong. I mean, it is Wrightson, it takes a while, but Steve Niles was co-writing it with him, and it's an IDW. Yeah. You could get there in floppies, but that was he did issues 1 and 2, and then he passed away. But it was fucking good. A lot of people don't talk about it too much because it wasn't his life's work, but it was fucking bad. And then Kelly Jones stepped up, and he finished the 3rd and 4th issue. Oh,
yeah. Well, I've heard of it. I should get that because that sounds amazing. Anything I can get with him on is going to be good. So, and Kelly Jones is kind of like he kind of took that mantle too. Yeah. Yeah. Like, a lot of his stuff, I'm like, that looks almost like a Wrightson clone almost.
Right? It's like a little more like black, like blotches, and a little more superhero.
Yeah, he definitely had his element to it. But when you look at Kelly Jones's Bane,
yeah,
and then you look at Wrightson doing like the big muscular guy from the Stern thing, you know, like all these weird, crazy muscles that don't exist, and you're like, yeah, I could see where he got that. All those rib muscles,
like a million of them.
Yeah, a million of them. They don't even make sense. But what's up, man?
What's up,
Brian?
Holographic promo trading cards of Bernie Wrightson's that I will give away. Damn,
shit!
Gonna get them some subscribers up.
Yeah, go subscribe to Death Metal Hero. Get that contest going. That'd be awesome.
So I was wondering, man, what's your favorite metal band? Since we were talking about metal a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's all kind of genre specific, but I was always like a big death metal head. And so when I think metal, I kind of go to death metal. Like there's a lot of other people would call them metal bands, but I would just call them hard rock or something. But
yeah.
And then even then, it's hard to pick a favorite. It could be different any day of the week. But I love a lot of the old earache bands. So I was a big Bolt Thrower, Napalm Death, Carcass. Yeah, that was my shit. And then I like a lot of the American death metal was pretty good too. Like I like Obituary, Cannibal Corpse, naturally, Morbid Angel.
Yeah, Rutan. Guy's a perfectionist. That artist, man. My buddy was like, he was like, Cannibal Corpse needs to make a movie where it's just like you take a bunch of different covers and you kind of write like a script into that and make the movie. He's a big Corpse fan.
Yeah,
I could see that. That could be a whole good horror movie. It takes some well orchestrated, forecasted writing, but fuck it, I'd watch that. If you know, it could be fun. You know.
Well, I used to always tell, like, you know, when hang out with normies who were like, "Oh, how can you listen to this stuff?" And I'm like, "You watch a horror movie?" They're like, yeah. I'm like, it's like a horror movie in song. It's all
yeah.
I mean, you look at the lyrics; it's basically them just telling a horror story. Sometimes they have like imagery, and you know, they'll take it to some extremes. Some of the
titles, man.
Oh, Broken Hope. That was another one of my favorites. Broken Hope. And some of the titles of their songs, I'm like, God damn, you guys are fucked up. But I like it.
Like, what was it? Heartwork by Carcass. Like, they just straight took that mantle of we're medical death metal, right?
Yeah,
a lot of the lyrics went into medical, right?
Yeah, I think they were like medical students or some shit like that. But the album before Heartwork, which was Necroticism, Descanting the Insalubrious. That was the one where it was like just filled with all this jargon. You're like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. And then they would name their guitar solos, like it would be themed with the song. So they had one, Pedigree Butchery. It was about like killing dogs for like medical experiments or some shit.
Yeah.
And then so the solos would be called like Firm Meaty Chunks or like Kibbles and Bits, or I don't know. They were just doing like ridiculous.
You got to do that, I guess.
Great
Sometimes
band,
you got a bunch of solos in a song. You got to like, all right, this is the this band. Maybe you might be inspired by this. This is the type of solo I want it to sound like this. I want it to be loud or whatever, or this is a breakdown that might, But you don't want to say that. But you got to say that sometimes. Sometimes you might want to reference a band because it kind of has that feel or something like that. Well, I want to do an off-time fucking breakdown, or I want to do some blast beats, or maybe there's a Megadeth solo I want, or a thrash solo, or a death metal solo. Or then you got Nile. That was another Egyptian metal, and
an Egyptian metal. You got Nile.
You got Hypocrisy.
You
ever hear Hypocrisy?
Hypocrisy.
That's alien death metal.
Yeah, they were all about like conspiracies and aliens, and they were one that, like, depending on where you jumped in, would sound totally different.
Totally. And he's got another band called Pain. I've seen them. They're like more rock though, kind of like Rob Zombie-ish kind of type shit. Like because sometimes metal gets into that weird like rocky type. It's almost alternative, and you don't know what. So there's so many genres.
I always think it's horrible when somebody who's like cut their teeth on death metal like goes into like some kind of like less heavy stuff, because I don't know, it just never works. That was like the last Morbid Angel album I got. I was like, it was absolute dog shit. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like they were trying to make it like groove metal or something. I'm like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but it's not working, man. It's not what people sign up for when they get Morbid Angel album.
What are you listening to right now? Is there anything specific you're listening to right now?
Oh, let's see. What am I blast right now? Well, my favorite band of all time, and I will play them nonstop, even though they haven't released anything forever, is Faith No More. So it's not even like death metal or anything like that. But I love Mike Patton vocally.
The darkness.
Yeah, and he can do all this different stuff with his voice. So yeah. Luke says, Jesus, what happened to Morbid Angel? Exactly. That was my thought. So yeah, there's nothing new that's really like gripped me. I'm trying to think if there was some new band. Now, one of my favorite bands of all time, speaking of like aliens or just kind of weirdness, is Voivod, Canadian band.
Voivod. Yeah, I remember them. It's Newstead,
they're
right?
They're still putting out new music. And even though Piggy, the guitar player, died, but everything's still, they got a new guy who's basically doing what he thinks Piggy would have done because he was real innovative. So I'm digging everything they've been putting out that's like new, but they're an old ass band, so it's a little different.
It's crazy, man. Crazy how much fucking metal there is. Like every week there's like bands like all over the place. You know what I mean? If you look for it, but sometimes I just don't go look for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think that was my thing, and don't take this the wrong way because you said you were doing melodic death metal, but I remember I was like, I gotta find some new bands. I'm gonna put in death metal in like YouTube and just see what comes up. And it was basically the first thing it said was melodic death metal. I'm like, the first thing should be brutal, not melodic. I'm just saying.
Or just death. Or just death metal. And you get all the Floridian stuff,
Great band. Death.
Yeah.
Chuck Schuldiner.
Yeah, he's awesome, dude.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous.
He's one of the greats, the anomalies of metal, I would say.
Oh yeah, it was very innovative, but like
fun.
His writing ability, his solos, seemed like a really cool guy too. Shame he died so young.
I know, man, and that's another band too you can go and listen to, and there's always some crazy stuff in there,
Yeah, well, and they're another one that, like, depending on where you jump in, they're going to sound slightly different. Like I got in on the Symbolic album, and then a lot of like death fans were like, that wasn't the best one. I'm like, well, I love it because it was the one that introduced me.
Well, yeah, like in some bands, like I think I heard you on 80s Made, and you were saying that like most bands, and it might quote me if I'm wrong, their first shit is probably their best shit for the most part, right?
I was saying that. I have a theory on that.
Yeah, I think for me, I think that's personally, I think that's probably about half the time. And then sometimes you're like, whoa, what the fuck is this? This is awesome. Like, where are you hiding this? So, but for me, I think it's usually around like the second or third album. You know what I mean?
Well, I think if you're talking death metal, and like more stuff that has like musical acrobatics kind of going on.
Yeah.
I definitely think a lot of the later stuff. But when you're talking about like kind of hard rock bands and definitely like punk and stuff like that, it's like that first album has all the raw energy, and all of a sudden they got big producers and they got money, and it's like, yeah, everything went to shit after you guys got money.
Dude,
you're getting laid too much.
I have your campaign right here. I was wondering, would you be down if I show it? Maybe people could take a look at it. Maybe we could talk about it a bit.
I would love it if you did, actually. No,
Hell,
yeah, of course, man.
Yeah. All right. Let me share it real quick. Really fast.
And Luke says his favorite Death album was Spiritual Healing. That one was great. And then Brian says Angel Rat from Voivod, which, yeah, a lot of people didn't like that one as much. I love that album, but it's like a lot less heavy. So
it's crazy, man, when like you like all love something and then like somebody else like fuck that shit.
Yeah,
that's just it's cool though. But it's cool.
If you're both fans of the same band, and then you start arguing over which album was the best.
But I think that's cool though, right? Because then like it gives that, it gives that unconditional shove. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like unconditionally, just shove each other.
Hell yeah.
I think we do that as comic book fans. I think any fandom that's hardcore has that element. Like 80s jumped on. He's like, oh, the new 52, that was horseshit,
Yeah, no, I get it all the time. You know what I mean? But we got to stand our ground on stuff. You know what I mean? 80s has to hate that. Something. I have to like it. I don't like all of it, but I like probably a good 10 issues out of it.
I run my life a certain way. If 80s hates it, I love it.
Well, that's good for it's good to watch. Regardless,
keeps us arguing. It's all good.
I like this cover right here, man. I like this logo. Who designed that logo?
I designed all of it, actually. Yeah, there's not a piece of artwork in this book that I did not do. So,
yeah, I love that, man. It again, it's got that old school, EC vibe to it. Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, I thought we'd go kind of hard in on that because I knew that was kind of the aesthetic that this book was always going to have. I think sometimes it gets blown up a little bit more than it needs to. That we're like easy, and you're like trying to tell people like, oh, this is what you're used to. This is going to be kind of like that. But yeah, I was like, no, I want to do a logo that's similar with the dripping letters, kind of the Misfit angled down font, and then just the big red block at the top, which was very iconic for all the old EC titles, And when this goes to print, we're going to have like the Broken Compass Comics logo on there and some other stuff to make it look even more like that. But yeah, that was kind of the idea. I was like, this is a horror anthology that's kind of got that fun feel to it, which is what I love. Like when I think of horror, there's plenty of horror movies, comic books that are like really just want to take you into hell and like hold you there. And there's no fun.
It's like that.
Yeah, you're just like soaking with darkness at the end, and you're like, that was too much. But I always loved like horror comedies, and like again, Tales from the Crypt.
Oh yeah,
they always had that tongue-in-cheek kind of element. Even the shows like Creep Show, Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side.
I love
they had a certain element of fun.
Oh hell yeah, man! Lots of fun. I love Creep Show 2. I got you got the Bernie Wrightson Creep Show graphic novel or book. That thing's awesome.
No, I should.
I have it. I think I have it out in the garage, but I'll show you sometime next time we're on.
Oh heck yeah, man!
Yeah, and I forgot who it's colored by, but it's drawn by it's inked by Bernie Wrightson, and I love this artwork right here on the cover too. Again, I love the logo too. I love how it's all hand done. It's got your personal touch to it. It's not done on a computer, and you could tell that, man. It's got a real fucking underground feel to it. Also old school feel to it. I love the colors on here, how they do not hide the line work. They actually bring out the line work, and it's not painted. It's just colored, So
well, and I do. It was kind of a misnomer when I said I did all the artwork on this. So I do have a colorist, and my colorist Damir Rosic is a badass because I basically gave him one little piece of direction. I said, "Look at this old school EC cover. It's like hand painted and it's got this look. Do that and make it look modern."
No, and
he's just killing it with the colors. He knew exactly what aesthetic we were going for. He actually did a cover for some version of Creepshow, like some new, really recent
Sick.
Creepshow book, and he did the colors for the covers. So that's how I found him. I'm like looking for something specific. Awesome guy and a killer colors. So,
and the cool thing about this cover is too, like on a side note, it has horror, but also has like you get a little taste on the bottom left hand side. There's going to be some sci-fi horror. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just so even on both sides, you're going to get the old school fun, fucking scary, scarecrow monster. And you're going to get that, and then you have the mountain range with who knows what else type of beasts you have up here. So there's 2 stories in this, right?
Yeah, 2 stories. And so that cover has like elements from one story on one side, elements on the other side of Vidon. So Vidon is the crypt keeper, if you will. He's the narrator of our stories. And so we've got Vidon in the center, and then story A on one side, story B on the other, like as far as like a collage of imagery from the stories. So.
It's fucking metal. His name's metal as fuck too.
Yeah, he's a badass, even though he doesn't really do much but narrate.
Hey, sometimes you just got to bring the hammer down,
Someday I may like bring him into a story. We'll see. I've thought about that. I'm like, maybe he just like he can't take it anymore, and he's like, time to whoop some ass.
He's like, you know what?
Himself.
I got Tubi. I love Tubi. They have Tales from, or no, not Tubi. The Amazon Prime. They have Tales from the Crypt Keeper. I watched that with my 9-year-old.
Oh
she
yeah,
loves
those
that
are
shit.
the best.
They're fun, and it's still got the same guy doing the voice. I like this metamorphosis. This monster right here. Eldritch horrors have found a way to break into our reality through the nightmares of a group of teenagers. Can VR technology battle back to darkness? Is it cool if we check out your trailer, brother?
Yeah, of course.
Sweet.
I've seen it
all pumped up
5 billion times, but somebody here might not have. So
here we go. 5,000,001.
5,000,001. I'll take it.
On pure speculation, just an educated guess, I'd say that man is alive.
Come with me and see what I see. The terrible worlds that lie between. The realm observed and the realms unseen, where the dark things live while you dream. Join me, Vidon the Beholder, as I drag your mind into those shadows and corners, where you can see like me, those things you don't want to believe. Unconditional Shove, the new horror sci-fi graphic novel anthology series, featuring 2 stories and over 80 pages of compelling, action-packed, terrifying fun. In our first story, I'll take you to a place where the otherworldly is made manifest. In this place, the abstract permeates the cosmology. In this place, your fears will construct the most terrifying animations. Because in this place, monsters exist. And in our second story, we stumble upon an ancient friendship between monster and man. And you'll see why it might be best to keep your monsters close and your enemies even closer. In with friends like these. Unconditional Shove Volume 1. A graphic novel for all you lovers of the strange, macabre, and creepy things that we all know exist in the shadows of our universe. Unconditional Shove. Back it today on Indiegogo.
Hell yeah, brother. I'm really digging the music in there. Who'd you get to do the music for that?
That was actually an old band I was in. Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah, man.
The first band I was in when I was 20.
Oh, wow.
Angels of the Odd. Yeah.
Yeah,
the
that's
song
dope,
called
dude.
Damaged Village.
And you did the voice acting, right, on there?
Yeah. It's amazing that Vidon the Beholder sounds just like me, but yeah.
I'm sure people have told you did a good job, man. It sounds fucking 100% pro.
Yeah, no. I'm available.
Badass.
Anybody want that? Anybody want the voice? Hit me up.
Hell yeah.
I've been joking that Abra's 2 cents that she's the one who did it because she did the trailer. Like, Abra, that was hell of a voice you did. Hell of a voice.
This is awesome right here, man. Can you say, so right here, you want to talk about this a little bit? This character right here?
Yeah, so that's story number 2, which I'm still currently drawing on. getting closer all the time to completing, but that is with friends like these, and that is our friend the Scarecrow. So it's basically two villains, a guy, girl. They're basically modeled after like Mickey and Mallory from Natural Born Killers.
Nice.
They break down in the woods, and their car breaks down. They have to stumble to this old homestead, the shack. When they meet the owner, who lives this remote, reclusive lifestyle, they discover this horrific secret that he has of his relationship with his Scarecrow. That is, somewhat symbiotic. So
this is cool, man. I fucking really loving that. You got the black and white and in color. So you have two different versions of this book.
That is true.
Covers. So for the collectors, you can get both. For me, man, they both look so good.
So that's the black and white cover there. And then, so the mock-ups each have the different covers. And I mean, that was when I decided to go color, I actually had people, I was sharing color images, and people were actually hitting me up going, dude, I thought this was black and white. I want black and white. And I'm like, no, we're doing both, man.
That's brilliant, man.
We definitely figured doing both. And to be honest, the most back tier has been both. The combo pack there. You save a bit, so it's your best bang for your buck. But then you get 2 books. And what Demir's doing coloring wise over the black and white inks, they do have a whole different feel. So you're getting 2 books. They're going to have very much a unique feel each one. So
yeah, man, the colors really, they kind of, it opens up the world in a different way. It's like a different dimension almost, and then in the black and whites, your brain kind of involuntarily puts the colors in there without you even noticing it. You're kind of just going through it. But I mean, that's how my brain does it a little bit.
Well, and when I think of these, like the old anthologies that we're referencing, the covers would always have color. Interiors were always black and white. And so we've kind of been trained to a certain sense to like horror in black and white.
Yeah.
Like even when I watch like Night of the Living Dead, like when I watched the original black and white one, I'm like, this one seems way more terrifying just because the absence of color,
Right. It's funny too, because I've talked about this. There's just something about black and white, man. It just makes everything so serious and heavy, like because of the line weights and the darkness. It draws you into it almost draws you into the darkness, and just the heaviness of the blacks, of the the line weights, the volume it brings. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree. Yeah. Sometimes
it's hard for me to put into words about how crazy it is. Even just watching the old, I've been watching the old Dracula movies with Bela Lugosi. I love Dracula. He's my favorite character. But I'm not really into that one a lot. I like Christopher Lee and I like Francis Ford Coppola's. That's my favorite movie, or my top.
Okay.
But his castle's fucking awesome. Bella's got the best castle, I think. There's like this one shot where it's just far away and it's so big, it's so epic, and just looking at how heavy he is. I like Mike Mignola a lot too, just the way he drops in those blacks, adds that mood to it. But I like that shot right there, the helicopter.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's James's favorite. He always tells me that. I think there's certain artists and certain styles that lend themselves to black and white. There's obviously some that it's like it's almost drawn for color, but the thing is, I drew this not knowing if I was going to actually end up having color on it. I'm going, well, it'd be nice if I could. Maybe I'll make it a stretch goal, this or that. And then finally, I was like, no, I can pay my guy. We can get this going. And then, but by that point, I was 3/4 of the way done almost. So it's like it's already been drawn to be black and white for the most part. Now I don't use like ink wash, but I do like heavy black and heavy rendering. So that kind of makes up for that gray value. But I do like ink wash type stuff, like the old Savage Sword. I really dig that. But yeah, again, it's like it just depends on the artist, the different types of inks, and if you're gonna go black and white, it does have to be pretty heavy handed and like dark, So
yeah, you have to go in, and like sometimes if you're gonna make it black and white, you got to go in like kind of thinking that way, like what are you gonna black out,
and it's like the same thing. Like when you think it's gonna be colored, you're kind of going like, okay, I'm gonna give a line of value, but that's like a highlight. But if you're doing it in black and white, you're like, no, I actually have to add that value. I can't like rely on somebody else to add that value. Otherwise, it just doesn't show up. So yeah, that's true. It's definitely now that said, I drew it all for black and white, and my colorist understands where I was going with everything, and without destroying the line work. And that's another thing. I've given him carte blanche. I'm like, if there's a time and place to like do it. But for the most part, he really just accentuates it instead of covering it up. So
yeah, it's beautiful, man. I love I like what he's doing with the colors. And then there's Oliver from 656. He does a similar thing with his coloring technique, really bringing out the colors. And I think that's the way to go for the style of books that we're kind of making, you know. I was going to ask you about this bastard shove Christmas up your ass.
The stretch goal.
This sounds awesome.
Well, you always got to love a stretch goal that involves shoving something up your no, so James and I were talking about, we're like, what do we want to do for stretch goals? Do we want to do them? And neither of us are like huge fans of getting like smaller stuff, you know, like, hey, we reached this goal, you know, now you get a sticker or something or a trading card.
Yeah.
We went, let's make one stretch goal and make it a really pretty badass thing if we can get there. So if we hit 10K, which again is it's a bit lofty, but it's attainable. We will release this whole other book, which is a Christmas special crossover between Unconditional Shove and Magnificent Bastards, which is basically the characters from Magnificent Bastards find themselves in this horror anthology world of Unconditional Shove. And because they are interdimensional characters, so it definitely made sense that could happen. And James and I have been having a blast writing this. It's fun. It's crazy.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
That 10K, everybody will get a free version of the Christmas special.
That's a nice juicy stretch goal. You know what I mean? It can't really get any better than that.
Yeah.
I like how you guys set up your page too. All the way the art switches over. That's really cool.
I thought it was a good touch, because one thing we wanted to avoid was like that never-ending scrolling. You know, because you can show tons of interior pages, but then by the time you've looked at them all, then you got to scroll this like gigantic way just to get back up to the top of the page. And
you're like,
we're like, how can we keep it pretty concise, still show off a lot of interiors, a lot of artwork, and say everything we want to say. So yeah, James set this up, and he impressed me. I really enjoyed how he set it up. And then we don't have a ton of like extras. It's basically pretty straightforward. You know, we've got the black and white, the color, the black and white and the color, a digital version, and then an original art tier.
It's pretty straightforward. And that's a great price for original art. Yeah, man. That's insanely good price. $250, and you get the fucking both the books.
Both the books, yep.
Yeah, that's an insanely good deal, man. So whoever's watching, you guys come check this out. If you want to get the black and white version, it's only 30 bones. You can get both for 60. You're getting the cut. Or you can get the regular for 40, and that's 2 stories, 80 pages, right?
Yep, 80 pages. It might be slightly more. It'll be at least 80 of story, and that's not filler and stuff. That's at least 80 of story. It might be more as we add a few extra things going forward. So.
And we're just over halfway there. Got 51 backers. We got to get this up to 100. We got to get that 100 mark. And
if we hit that 100 mark, we'll be good.
We got to get them pages colored, and I'll tell you right now, them pages they cost a little bit. So come on and back this book. You guys are gonna love it. You will not regret it, and it'll be perfect.
And real quick about the original art. I'm pulling the 10 choicest pages. I'm not keeping like all these great pages from it. I mean, I'm gonna have tons of great pages, but 10 that I think are gonna be everyone's favorites that I'm pulling for this.
Yeah.
And then it's first come, first serve. So the first person to back this original art tier gets their pick of those 10, and on down the line. So no one has got that tier yet. So if you wanted to jump in, again, it is a high price tag because it's original art, but there's never going to be another one made of it. And I can vouch for it. The art is kick-ass.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome, man. You guys got to get in here and get you some original art. Look at that.
Yeah, I know.
Only 10, and he's not going to do it again. So come and check it out. There's only a few days left on the campaign, folks. So come and check this out. That's 51 backers and 20 days left.
Yep. And thank you to all who have backed. But just trying to get more, trying to definitely hit our funding goal. The book's coming out, whether we go another 30 or whatever, but we'd love to hit that funding goal before the 30. And then also if we can hit that 10K stretch goal, everybody's getting a whole other 24-page book. So
that's what people want though, man. They really want to get like an extra book. Like you throw an extra book in there. It's fucking awesome, dude.
It'd be free to everybody. So promote it. If you already backed it, throw it out there.
Elliot.
See if you can get some friends and family to buy.
Yeah, man. You never know. Like someone might want to read a horror book, like Light Up the Candles. I mean, horror is always fun to read. You got the some people got the board game nights. I do that in my fam. Pull out the Monopoly or Operation or something, Candyland, whatever the fuck. And then what up, Dillard? Dillard did he had another book in his campaign. That was fucking awesome. It was like, whoa, I just backed the Buckler.
Yeah,
and
the
Buckler,
threw in
the Polar. So oh, it's fucking badass, dude. It's a villain book,
Well, the art I've seen on that, just to throw it out there, Dillard crushes it.
He crushes it.
It was so good.
I was gonna ask you, man, what's your favorite movie, man?
Oh, favorite movie.
Sorry,
again, no. We'd get there. We're getting there. Right now, again, this can change over time, and it has. But recently reappreciating, and it's just become my favorite movie again. I think it's been my favorite before. The Thing by John Carpenter. The more I watch it, the more I appreciate how well it was directed, how well it was acted, how well the screenplay flows, visually, all the special effects, everything. Yeah, absolutely love that movie.
Yeah, that movie's the shit, dude. I remember. I don't know who I was talking to. Hate me if you want. I do own it on. I do own it on DVD. But a young Matt Burke, probably in his teens, was watching it and was like, "Fuck, I love Big Trouble in Little China and Escape from New York, and Escape from L.A. I love Escape from L.A. and Big Trouble. Those are my favorite. I knew Carpenter was. I was a little shit, still am. So I was watching it. I'm like, fuck, man, this shit's boring as fuck. They're just sitting up in the snow and just talking, and out of nowhere, the fucking monster comes up and just, and it's so realistic, Rob Bottin. Oh my god, it's like, I could watch that movie forever and ever. One of my favorites. I still think that's the best remake ever made. Second would be The Fly.
The Fly was a great remake. That's a good point. Yeah.
And I love that movie, man.
Well, and I think the pacing, how the intensity just keeps ramping up. Yeah. And the emotions of that intensity with all the crew keeps ramping up. Everything just has this gradual, it's getting more fucked up. You thought it couldn't get more fucked up, but it is, And that whole thing of not knowing who is human and who isn't. I mean, it's just a great concept, a great movie all around. So,
and it keeps you talking.
My favorite director and my favorite movie maker of all time is John Carpenter. I absolutely love Big Trouble in Little China is one of the most entertaining movies I've ever seen. Prince of Darkness was great. Halloween, fucking Escape from New York, Assault on Precinct 13. He had so many good ones.
Starman.
I
love that. Hey, that movie's a fucking
Starman's a good movie. Yeah, it's not my top bet for him, but yeah, it's a good movie.
Halloween. And he makes the music. There's not that many people like him. The only one that kind of comes around, and he still can't. But it comes is Rodriguez for a minute there. He was coming in. He was doing his music. You're watching the special features. He's cooking his pork tacos or whatnot. He's doing his. I don't know if you've seen his special features, but I liked his movies at the time. I remember one of my favorite days ever was my dad came and took me out of school, and I'm like, oh fuck, what happened? He's like, we're gonna go see a movie. I'm like, what? Yeah, we're gonna go see From Dusk Till Dawn. So it was like me and my dad and my uncle and my grandpa. We went to Shakey's Pizza, all you can eat mojo potatoes, and we went and watched. I was in fucking 4th or 5th grade. Should not have watched that movie. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't give a fuck, but they didn't know either. They knew it was me a monster movie because you see Salma Hayek back then. She was a no name, turned into that Alien Nation-esque vampire snake.
Yeah,
and
it was.
Oh man, it was cool, man. But
that was such a tale of two movies, and I know he did that on purpose. But you're like, oh, it's this caper. It's these criminals on the loose, kind of thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's a monster movie.
Yeah, dude.
I love that one. Yeah, that was right up there, but it has that feel like like everything I'm trying to do with Shove and a lot of the things I love, which is basically like it's horror, but everything feels fun and exciting, and the entertainment value is through the roof.
Oh
that's
yeah,
definitely what I go for.
Great, like page turner. You know what I mean? But I would say that like as of now, the best horror movie with monsters and practical effects is The Thing. That's the pinnacle. I think people should strive for that movie. I mean,
for sure.
There's more out there. I mean, I like Rob Boutein's the shit. I think him and obviously he's the protege of Rick Baker, and they had a falling out, and so Rick went to American Werewolf and he went to The Howling. I love The Howling too. Real quick, we like more The Howling or American Werewolf? That's like the
okay. Like as a movie, I like American Werewolf better. As a werewolf, I like The Howling better.
The demon wolf. To me, he always looked like a demon. Like his ears just had this fucking horn type.
Yeah, like flavor. As if Kelly Jones drew it.
Yeah, exactly. I love The Howling a lot more, man. Way more. I love American Werewolf too, and they're both they're both equally as good. You know which
one I like was Silver Bullet.
Oh yeah, Silver Bullet's the shit. I watch that all the time.
Sucked, but the movie itself, I really loved.
Yeah, he kind of looked like a bear at the end a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like a dude in a werewolf costume. It was not the greatest, but
Gary Busey though, in the little hot rod. I wanted that fucking wheelchair, dude. I don't give a fuck. I'm like, I want that wheelchair, dude. I don't care. Like, made me crippled.
I don't have to be crippled to enjoy that.
I want that shit.
I would just want to ride around.
Werewolf. Ooh, fucking Gary Busey. Yeah, he was cool in there, man.
Oh yeah, well, and like the dude who played the Reverend, who was basically the antagonist, the werewolf. He did a great job. Yeah.
Oh, he's good. I liked him in the People Under the Stairs.
Yeah.
That's a solid movie too. I like that one a lot too. That was a good sleep because I was talking with Brian in the 90s. There wasn't like a lot of like horror as much as there was in the 80s and the
true.
70s.
It was a bad time.
That was one though. That was a good one, and that one was kind of believable. Like it was like okay, I could. That's like a neighborhood in Long Beach where I live. I could see that some rich white people, or rich people, whatever the fuck. It's believable, bro. Totally,
Oh yeah,
and that's what made it fucking scary, And
I think, there's Good King and there's Bad King, and then as far as the movies, there's Good King and Bad King. There's been some that are just misses in my mind, but I know a lot of people love the Pet Sematary movie, but I always thought it was kind of shit,
Yeah, you did read
whereas the story is cool. Yeah.
Did you see the remake?
No.
The remake's got a fucking Wendigo in it. Now I never read the books, so I don't know if the Wendigo is in the book. I don't
remember Wendigo being in the book. It might have been.
I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. And Wendigos are kind of like the new Bigfoot for the last decade or I don't know if you noticed, but there's Wendigos everywhere. Seems like in movies and.
Oh, I noticed. They're all in my neighborhood, man. They're everywhere. How can I not notice? They're taking over the town, man.
I watched. You see Antlers? I just watched that one. Directed by Scott Cooper, produced by Guillermo del Toro and David Goyer. David Goyer's getting in there a lot lately. He did that new Hellraiser. He wrote
which I still have yet to check out.
It's all right. It's worth the watch. It ain't the first or second one, but it's all right.
I've put my foot down. Everyone knows this. I put my foot down with remakes and rebrands because I'm just tired of them playing on the emotional aspect that I love this. And making a shit movie or making a half-assed movie or just not up to par, but they'll never catch the lightning in the bottle that made me love it to begin with. I keep hearing about a new Big Trouble in Little China. I'm like, why?
I heard The Rock's trying to do it. He's been trying to make that shit for a while. He's always trying to do that. Yes, the Wendigo.
Yeah, I could get it from his perspective. But I want to be Jack Burton or something. It's like, well, naturally, don't we all? But don't make another fucking movie. It's just gonna piss me off. And it doesn't even matter how good it is at this point. I just don't want you to touch the original stuff. It's there. It's awesome. It stands the test of time. There's no reason to remake it.
I agree with you, man. I think that if you're going to remake something, go find something that's kind of, how do I put, something that's dog shit, kind of, sort of. But it's got a little twinkle, a little glimmer.
You could see the greatness, but the execution sucked,
Yeah.
They just made a shit movie, but it could have been great if they had done it the right way. Whereas instead of going after these great things that are beloved by the hardcore fans of it, and you're going to get them to go watch because they're suckers.
Yeah, I will sometimes.
I know, but that's what the thing. The last few times, I'm like, I'm tired of getting played like this. I'm not doing it.
So let down.
I'm not doing it.
It's I'm so let down.
Well, I don't know if you liked the TV show Firefly, Joss Whedon.
I never watched it. I mean, it was on when I was a kid, but I never watched it. I mean, during that time, I watched a lot of X-Files and Millennium. Me and my mom watched that stuff.
Well,
there's only the same time.
There's only it's right around that same time, like mid-90s. There's only one season, and it was great. And then all the hardcore fans were like, "We want more seasons. We want more seasons." I'm like, "That's just one more chance for them to fuck this up," because most of them do after a while. I'm like, let's not mess with it. Let's just enjoy it. They made Serenity, the movie, later, but
I remember that. I remember seeing that. Or hearing about it.
Great. It's like a one season, so you can get through it, binge through it pretty fast. So I would highly recommend it, man. I think you'd enjoy it.
I have to check that out. I hear it's like a space western kind of. Is that right?
Yeah, it's got that feel. I mean, it's just a lot of the settings and planets, and then just kind of like, they feel like space rustlers, and they're, it's got that feel, but it's not really a western, but it's got that.
Get that feel. I'm watching the Man with No Name trilogy on Tubi right now. So like right now I'm kind of working on a couple different odd jobs, but I'm staying up late, drawing some pages and shit. I got Tubi on in there, and I got my drawing board right here.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there and I'm like watching Clint Eastwood, and I'm just like fucking fall asleep, and it's like 5 a.m. and my spine hurts, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get out of my chair. And I'm usually listening to somebody on YouTube, probably like 80s Mate will be on, or like I was saying, whoever's on Vic King or those whatever his name is, Devil Flyer. That guy's a nice guy. Sorry. Yeah. I'm horrible with names, but yeah, man. I was gonna ask you, what's your favorite beer? I know you showed me the local brew you had, but what was
I like that. If I had to pick a favorite, I like the kind of like German Amsterdam kind of skunky beers. And so from what we get over here, I always love Grolsch.
Oh yeah, Grolsch, yeah.
It's also being able to pop the top like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's got the like, you ready?
I started thinking of like Black Dynamite, and I'm like, gives you the ooh, pop the top, panties drop. No, it's I just love that stuff. Grolsch. And then I'll also sometimes like darker stouts. So we got one here. I don't know, you might have it down there in California, but Irish Death.
No, that sounds pretty metal, but I love my stouts. I like the darker.
Yeah, it's a stout, but it's one that I can find just about anywhere. Most places around here have it on tap.
Oh,
and
okay.
So I go in, I'm like, what do you got? And I'll take an Irish Death. It's, high alcohol, real stout, but not like that sweet chocolatey kind of stout. It's just like almost like a Scotch ale.
Oh, like a wee heavy, or sorry.
Yeah, it's like a dark Scotch ale. Yeah,
I like those wee heavies too, man. There's a brewery that's kind of popular now. They're from Iceland. They're called Einstock. It's got that Viking head on the side.
That sounds cool. I should know about this.
They have they're selling them everywhere. I mean, at least around here, they got them in all the liquor stores, and they got like a bunch of different types. But there's this one it's got the kilt on the side. It's called a wee heavy. It's really good, man. And that's I like those. There's this one called Skull Splitter too. That was a wee heavy. It's got a Viking, a Scottish Viking.
Yeah. I have had that one.
That one fucks you. That shit hurts, dude.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie. I got a hangover just drinking that muff. Like
some of these beers, you're like, can you even call it beer at this point? Yeah, like 11%.
Well, dude, hey, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'll be honest with you. I don't like drinking beer with like fucking 11% on there. It's like, if I'm gonna do that, I might as well just have some bourbon in a beer. You know what I mean? Or just have some bourbon, or just have, you know what I'm talking? Like,
do the Boilermaker like me, but it works better with like the lagers. Something light, like a Boilermaker with like a stout, or like something that's got like close to 10%. Oh yeah, you get fucked up fast.
It's just like, oh god damn! And it's only been like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it hits home pretty quick. Like I just went through this, so a 12-ounce can and a shot of bourbon, and it's like when I would do that on 80s, I used to do Boilermakers on his show all the time, but we're streaming for like 4 or 5, however many hours, and before I know it, I had like 6 of those. Well, that's a 6-pack of beer and 6 shots. It's like,
no.
Oh man.
Sometimes I want to like sometimes I want to sip on a beer. Sometimes I want to pound a beer. Like, so I'm going to get a 40. Like, and I want it cold. I want a big old beer. I want to pound it. Today I got 2 Rolling Rocks, 2 25 ounces. There's an extra ounce.
Pounders.
I haven't had it in like, I don't know, 10 years or something. I was like, well, that's cute. I'll pick that.
You're going to shotgun one on stream?
Nah, I'll probably spray all over my room. Otherwise I would.
That would be badass. It'd be very metal of you to do that. Maybe some other time, but one of these days, like if you hit a certain subscriber mark,
yeah, right.
I'll come back and we'll both do that. We'll shotgun a beer on screen.
I was gonna do that, man. I was gonna start a YouTube show where I had a mask and you never see my face. And
Yeah.
I was gonna like pound 2 beers at the same time, and I was gonna slam them, just destroy shit, like break shit, like at the end of the video. But I was like, no, I'm not fucking around either. I'm 100% honest with you. I was gonna do that.
I believe you, and I think you would get subscribers pretty quick doing shit like
People,
but then you'd have to
like
up the ante every time.
Yeah, and it's sensationalism. You know, people, like that shit. And I ain't gonna lie, like if someone does it, I'm not gonna be like, oh fuck that, that's sensationalism. I mean, if it's on, I'm gonna watch it. I'm like, okay, that's kind of entertaining. No, I'll just kind of keep watching. Yeah.
There's times where I'm like, that's sensationalism, and I'm not interested. There's other times where I'm like, that's sensational, and I'm in. You know?
Right? Yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes, dude. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like, what's that one now? Like where they're eating shit like crazy?
Oh, it's like mukbang or some shit.
Mukbang, yeah. It's like that's sensationalism, but I don't want to fucking watch.
I don't want to watch that, bro. Yeah, I'll start throwing up, bro.
Shit. But somebody like mukbanging alcohol.
Yeah, that shit's a little. Well, like there's that dude that he would eat those hot dogs from Asia. He'd like soak them and like.
Oh yeah,
little homie would take like 40 of those, put him down, dude.
Well, 80s used to play the butter girl.
Oh, what's that?
There's this girl that'd take like big sticks of butter and she'd like dip them in like cheese sauce or sour cream or something, just like take chunks out of it. And she's like tiny little skinny girl.
Oh yeah, always
just like eating a stick of butter, and you're like
putting down that big Ed burrito from Green Burrito.
Yeah. But you get like to where it's like a train wreck. You're like, I don't want to watch this, but like for some reason I can't stop. Yeah,
it's a page turner, much like Unconditional Shove. And you guys need to back that book.
Excellent segue.
Check it out. And I do have it in the description. You guys can check it out.
Thank you, man.
If you guys love horror, you're gonna love this book, or just a kick-ass time in a comic book. Check it out and go back it.
That is it. Yep.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I was just gonna say, I think even if you're not like a fan of the specific genre, I think it's an enjoyable, fun ride for anybody. So I was trying to throw that out there because it's like, this is a niche, and comics is a niche. And then CG comic, it's like you go on down the line. It's like, well, I think a broader audience will very much enjoy this, So I have a lot of people I know that have seen like the process kind of from the beginning, and they're like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. So it's going to be a fun story and fun ride. So definitely check it out if you have not yet.
Hell yeah, man. And I think we're going to wrap it up right now. Odin, thanks for coming on my show. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. It was a good time.
My 7th show, so I've been around for a minute, but this is the first time I started doing this, and I thanks for coming on. I had a blast.
Yeah, well, your name sold me. Movies and brewskis. I'm like, I got to be on this show, man. And then the fact that you brought me on to talk about Shove is great. But I just enjoyed like talking beer, movies, comics, all this stuff. It's like, music, metal,
We should do it again sometime, man.
Fuck yeah.
There's always a multitude of things we could keep cracking into. You know what I mean?
That's true. Right now I'm kind of on a mission with the book, but one of these days we'll just like hang out and won't be shilling anything. We'll just talk about randomness.
Hell yeah, man. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say about your book, or anything else you'd like to talk about that's coming up?
Not specifically. I mean, and the whole thing of like, check it out if you haven't and consider backing it. I think it's an awesome book. I think everyone's going to enjoy it, all that good stuff. But just really quickly, if you have not, like and subscribe to Matt's channel here, and Metal Movies and Brewskis. Always a good time, good subject matter, because even if we're talking comics, we're still talking metal movies and brewskis.
Well, thanks, man. And where can people find you, Odin?
Well, all my branding all across social media and YouTube and everything is all my name, so it's pretty easy. You got it right there.
Yeah, we got to talk a little bit more about your name too. Next time you come on, I'd like to know about that. So
it's kind of a boring story, but that's okay.
I'd love to hear it.
I'll make it more interesting when we talk about it.
Fuck yeah, man.
Fuck yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on again, brother. Everybody, thanks for watching. We'll try to do another show this week too, if not next Tuesday. Thanks for watching, everybody out there. Remember to be bold, be brave, and roll the bones to know your role. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Peace.